The collapse of FTX is a clear blow for the crypto market, but it could also signal that a larger slowdown is coming to the ad market. Josh Schafer following this story for us. And Josh, we know that crypto has been a huge spender on advertising this year, namely a number of sports marketing advertising. What does this mean just in terms of what the ad market could potentially look like if we did see this implosion of FTX, but more volatility for crypto ahead?
Right, that's the thing, Shauna. So we talked a lot about the FTX sponsorships, right? But FTX isn't the only crypto company that's been doing a lot of these sponsorships and really kind of buoying an ad market that we have seen a slowdown in. We've seen over $100 million from crypto companies this year, and that includes FTX, of course, but also Crypto.com, Coinbase. So you wonder where those companies are going to sort of go with this because they have been spending so much money. You go back to that crypto bowl that people called the Super Bowl, right? They spent about $84 million in the month of February alone, those three companies did. Very impressive numbers, huge numbers. And from what I've been told, they didn't really reset the market for what people are expecting to get paid. Because now when you go and you say, well, FTX paid me $19 years, $135 million if you're FTX Arena, someone's probably just going to say, yeah, they overpaid. Look at what happened to their business. So it's going to be interesting to see how things sort of fall out. And another interesting point with that, Shauna, if I am Coinbase or I'm Crypto.com, there's not that many businesses left in the crypto space.
Yeah.
So do you really need to keep advertising? They kept on saying in the beginning it was an arms race. Well, now there's only so many companies left. So there's not that many people to fight with if you are a proper crypto custodian. Another thing to think about too is all the crypto that those companies hold on their balance sheets. That's something I'm sort of watching as the crypto market comes down a little bit. They're not going to have as much money to spend on advertising and spend $700 million on the Staples Center or something crazy like that.
Yeah, those numbers were so eye-popping over the last couple of years, especially what they just spent on the most recent Super Bowl. Let's talk about what's going on more specifically in the ad market, because we've certainly heard crypto obviously could be pulling out here, but we've heard this theme now for quite some time. We've heard it obviously from a number of the media companies that have reported over the last several weeks. Tech companies have said that that is a massive headwind heading into the fourth quarter and then also heading in to the new year. Are there any industries that could potentially be insulated from this?
Yeah, Shauna. So I was over at the FanDuel Capital Markets Day yesterday, which is owned by Flutter, which is a European company. So they have a pretty good view of worldwide what's happening. And Flutter CEO Peter Jackson told me that they're seeing slowdown in other areas, and he knows in Europe that advertising is slowing down in other areas. But in their sports-specific market, we're talking about sports gambling here, he thinks it's going to be strong. So here's part of what he said to me yesterday. He said, one of the issues that we find is there are not many places that you can do sports advertising because you want to advertise in and around live sport. So actually, the fighting for live sports advertising is still very fierce. And he's talking specifically about companies like his, a sports book, or maybe think about other companies like a Gatorade where Pepsi owns that really only want to sponsor around sports. There's only so many games. And there's only so many live events that we're all watching. So I think that market is going to continue to be hot here, even as it slows down in other areas.
And Josh, to that point, I mean, when you were talking to FanDuel, when you were talking to the analysts that were at the investor day yesterday, what did you get a sense just in terms of demand for sports gambling right now? Because there has been that theory out there that maybe it is recession-proof. Others are saying, no, we're actually going to see people start to pull back on gambling. Has that at all been true?
So Jackson has great perspective on this, right? The CEO of Flutter, because they go back 20 years. And he talked to me about the great financial crisis. I asked him about this. And he said they didn't see a slowdown then during the great financial crisis. They haven't seen a slowdown now over the last couple months. We know we've sort of been tracking Europe as a leading indicator here, right, for what might come in the US. Europe has not slowed down. So he does not expect people to slow down for betting. And the one thing that people keep making the point about with that, Sean, is you can choose how much you pay for entertainment in sports betting. That's an interesting piece when you talk about not having enough money to go do something. You can still just pay $10 to do the bet, even if prices can't rise, because you're still picking your unit. And I think that's an interesting piece of that industry.
It's the vice that people just aren't willing to give up yet.
Exactly.
We'll see whether or not that changes over the coming months. All right, Josh Schafer, great stuff. Thanks so much.